Today's guest is Ryan Pelletier, founder of Morphite Boards, the longboards that actually fit in your backpack. We dive into the story of how Ryan started his idea as a high schooler before attending Saginaw Valley State University, where he incubated his product. Now he has a product that is going to market and he has real traction. Let's dive into the episode. Cool, Ryan. Thanks for joining the show.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Let's talk about the name for Morphite Boards. So how did you come up with it?
Yeah, so it's kind of embarrassing to say, but it was like a 45-minute conversation with ChatGPT where I was sitting there like, all right, I have a business. Here's the product. We need a name for it. We need a word that means to transform and to be like an item that transforms. So what we came up with is ite, I-T-E, is to be an element of. And then morph is, of course, to change shape or transform. So we put that together, and morphite is a transforming element. Obviously, not a real word. It's something we made up, or at least I thought I made up. But then I realized there's a video game that uses morphite, like the name Morphite. We did trademark the name Morphite Boards, so we have that trademark. But I feel kind of bad, like, taking the name when someone else was already using morphite. I can't really say I made up the word, even though I did go through that whole process of making up the word. I later found out the word was already in use somewhere else. So I feel kind of bad about that. But
yeah, but that's the name of the game, right? In business.
Pun intended. I mean, it's literally the name of a game. But yeah, it is. That's how it goes. And we didn't just take copyright on Morphite. It's Morphite Boards is what we copyright. So we didn't take the whole thing. Obviously, we're never going to go after them for using it. They were using it first. And I hope that they're at peace with us using it. I mean, no disrespect to them at all. Didn't mean to steal your word. I went through a whole process of making the word and then later found out it was already out there. So apologies. But it's a cool word. But yeah, so we're working on new versions of this. So like one version I'm going to make is just going to be much wider. So it's like the mega foot space. If people want that. What's cool about it is all of that is going to be modular and fit into this here. So you squeeze these tabs here, and this can come right off. And so we'll make different versions of these. One of them that we want to do is LEDs built in, so that if I had 2 LEDs and you and I wanted to go riding on our Morphite boards at night, I could say, hey, give me one of your kicktails, and then I can give you a LED version. Now we both have one LED. That's part of what we want to do here is create like a community and create a trading atmosphere around it where everybody's boards can integrate with everybody's boards and you can mix and match parts. So, but yeah, that's kind of an aspect of it that we want to work on. And
that's
it clicks
cool.
right back into place like that. Boom.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
We talked about naming conventions too, offline, but the naming conventions. I'm excited we don't have to talk about what you're going to do, but
yeah,
I liked some of the things that we're talking about. So
yeah, some fun potential for names. And honestly, what we might do is also run a competition and have everybody submit names of like, hey, what should we call this thing? Like, because right now it's just the Morphite board. We thought about calling it the Classic because this is obviously Gen 1. It's the first version. There's going to be new versions in the future. But maybe we could run an online competition. That could be kind of fun too. Whoever submits the best name gets a free hat or 50% off a board or something like that. We could do that. So, but yeah, naming is going to be that's going to be a fun thing to go down to. One of my other hats to wear.
That's the fun creative part.
Yep. The fun creative part it's one of the most lively parts of the business aspects, I think.
So just tell us a little bit about more that first moment where you knew that you had to make this product.
Yeah, so it actually goes all the way back to high school. 2018 is when I first came up with the idea. I used to ride my board to school all the time, and I couldn't quite fit my board into my locker, so I had to come up with alternative options, keeping in a classroom, or I think I kept it in the principal's office once. It was just very complicated and, not convenient. So I thought there needs to be a product for that. There needs to be a board that can fit into a locker. At the time, our goal was a locker. Now we've actually moved on to trying to fit it into a backpack, which it does. So that was 2018. We first came up with the idea. I made a rough prototype in my garage. That sat in a box for about 5 years after that. because I was a high school student. I didn't really have the means to really develop that product. But then I got to college at Saginaw Valley State University, and I had a business mentor of mine tell me, hey, we have this product innovation lab, and we can develop products there. Do you have any ideas that you want to do? And I said, hey, boy, do I. I have one in a box at home. And so I brought that in and pitched it to them, and they were kind of iffy on if it would work at first, but the reason we really pushed through with this project was I was one of the first students to use that lab. It was just kind of testing out the lab, seeing like what the innovation process looks like there. So that's why we pushed through. And then once we had a rideable board by, I think it was July of that year, so that was 2023 July, we had our first rideable prototype, and we're like, hey, this is actually something that could be really cool, could really take off. And that's when I really buckled down and started working more on the business.
That's awesome, man. So kind of like most founders that I know, at least, they start a company because they have experienced a problem themselves, right? And so that was your story too. You realized that you couldn't fit your longboard or your skateboard in your backpack, and so you decided to make something that could serve that dual purpose of getting around and the enjoyment of longboarding while also being compact. And like some schools have banned even longboards from being in the classrooms, right? We talked about that during our first meeting. So talk more about that process before you even got to the first MVP, because I think there's a lot of founders that aren't really sure how, if they have an idea for a physical product, how they can actually get the means or the resources to get that first MVP. So what for you was important in getting to that first step?
Yeah, absolutely. So something that my parents told me when I was very young was write everything down. So I've always had ideas ever since I was a kid. It was actually fourth grade is when I decided I wanted to be an inventor, quote unquote. And so ever since then, I've always written everything down. And so I had detailed notes on what I wanted the product to do, every description of the product, all my new ideas on it. I had this whole little journal full of ideas on the product. So that made it much easier to get the product from my head, from a vision inside my mind, into other people's minds. Because that's the first step, is getting other people to see your vision. If other people can't see the vision, then they're less likely to be able to support it, because not a lot of people are going to jump onto an idea just blindly. You're really lucky if you find someone who does. So the idea of just being able to communicate that idea, that was the first step for sure. Being able to describe what the idea was to our lab technician, Jim. He's the one who helped me actually develop this product. He's an engineer and has 37 patents, 38 now pending with our patent on this. And
what would that one-liner be, by the way?
The one-liner?
Yeah, the one-liner description of what Morphite Boards is.
Yeah, so Morphite Boards is ultra-portable last-mile transportation. That's our tagline that we run with. So the idea is once you get off the bus, this is the last few miles or last few blocks of transportation. This is it. Basically just going from your dorm room to your class, or going from your house to work, that kind of thing. Commuting, that's what we specialize in. So ultra portable last mile transportation.
That's awesome. Yeah. So going back to the development, right? So you were testing in the lab. So that was a key resource for you in the university, right? And a lot of universities have different maker spaces or different resources that you can utilize, which is why I always think that if you have any aspirations of being an entrepreneur or being a business owner, I always say, like, start now, like start today. The earlier you can start in your life and your journey, the more years and time that you're giving yourself to learn, to fail, to grow, to iterate, and to get to that successful product.
Yeah, and I think it's really important what you said there, fail. I mean, failing forwards is huge in entrepreneurship. I mean, there's going to be times that things don't work. You're going to find dead ends, and it's not about hitting that wall and stopping. It's about hitting the wall and finding the pivot that gets you around the wall. And yeah, college is the perfect place to fail forwards. It's like you have this cushion, this crash pad, if you will. You have all the support of your professors and whatever other staff members are helping you out. So yeah, college is the perfect place to start off if you have access to one of those maker spaces, especially. Jump right into it. The biggest part's kind of like doing a backflip. Like, it's not that hard physically to do a backflip, but the mental aspect of doing a backflip is what holds people back. You just gotta get past that mental barrier. You gotta say, hey, I'm doing this. I'm starting this project, and we're gonna see where it leads.
Absolutely. So let's talk more too about the skills that are required, because one of the things that a lot of people realize when they jump into starting a business is that they have to wear so many hats. Like, you learn everything from sales to marketing to fundraising to product development and design and accounting, finance, all of these different hats. So I guess for you, what were the hats that you were most inclined to have strength in? And then what were some of the challenges and the things that you had to kind of overcome to be able to get to where you are right now?
Yeah, great question. I mean, you wear so many hats as an entrepreneur. I mean, as you know, and yeah. So I told one of my friends the other day. He said, like, what are you doing for work today? And I said, I never know what my job will be tomorrow, because right now I'm wearing so many hats. I might be marketing tomorrow. I might be meeting with suppliers. The two things that I enjoy the most, I'd say right now, is working on the actual physical product development, coming up with new ideas, new ways to adjust the product, make it stronger, make it more efficient, working with our suppliers on that. There's so much energy in that area. People are so thrilled to be working on this project because it's a really fun project. I mean, at the end of the day, we're making a toy. I mean, we're making something fun and useful. And so there's a lot of energy surrounding that, which it's just really, really fun to tap into that. But then other than that, actually working with suppliers has been a lot of fun as well. I've built some really cool connections with some of my suppliers who've actually connected me more in the skate market too. They've been telling people about Morphite, which I really appreciate them for doing that. And just building those connections, like those relationships, even the people I'm buying screws from, like I've built a pretty good relationship with that company in Midland, and it's very cool to build those relationships. It's networking, but as much as it is building friendships. So that's the two things I'm having the most fun with. And marketing is coming soon. I'm excited to put that hat on more seriously.
Absolutely. Well, being on a podcast is like one step forward in that direction too. So it's like just stacking days, right? So that's super cool. And you've clearly designed a very cool product. I'd love to be able to ride one and try it soon. And you just had a successful launch, right, and fundraise, and you're right now in manufacturing phase to get these to market. So talk a little bit about that process and what it was like fundraising. Was it super easy? Were people just like right on board, or did you have to do some convincing or some hardcore networking? Like talk us through that journey.
Yeah. So one small correction is that we're not quite done with our fundraising yet. We're working on a $400,000 raise. We've raised $89,000 out of that. So we've raised enough to do our initial production and start beginning our production, but we still need more raise, which I'm actually working on tomorrow. I have an angel investor pitch night tomorrow. That's going to be super exciting to hopefully bring in more of our money for marketing and the other miscellaneous expenses. But yeah, so that process, the networking part, is huge. I've been working on this project for 2 years now, and the entire way while working on this project, I've been networking, connecting with potential investors, meeting people. It's hard to ask for money. It's kind of a difficult step because no matter how much you believe in the product, it's difficult to walk up to someone and say, "Hey, would you write a check to support this?" And because it's your dream and it's your idea, and it's scary to ask other people to support that, especially financially. So it's not easy, I'd say, but the easy part is building the relationships. I love meeting with investors and just texting someone on LinkedIn and saying, "Hey, you want to grab coffee and talk about my product?" And people are so happy to do that usually. And I've heard time and time again, they're not investing in the business as much as they are investing in you. So building those personal relationships is absolutely key. It's making sure that you fit with them as much as they fit with you, making sure that you like each other as people, because you're going to be working with these people and you're going to be building off of each other. So yeah, that networking is key. It's been about 2 years that I've been working on that, and we've got a really strong angel network now. Now we just need to go around and start signing people on. And the legal side of that that's kind of what's holding us up, is getting the legal paperwork. Took us a little bit of time, but we just got that recently, so we're going to start moving forwards with that.
Nice, man. Congrats.
Thanks.
So quick aside, and I'm going to come back to something about marketing.
Yeah.
Have you connected with Birmingham Angels?
Birmingham Angels.
Yes.
No, where are they out of?
Okay, so they're out of Birmingham.
Birmingham. Yeah. Guess I could have put that together.
Yeah. So I have a couple of connections there.
Okay.
Of some Angels, but also the group, they do syndications too.
Okay.
And I have a bunch of investor connections in Michigan, and I'm really passionate about helping more Michigan-based founders to raise capital here, but also bring in funding from outside of the state so that founders can build here in Michigan.
Yeah.
So offline, we can talk a little bit more about different resources I can plug you into. And
Perfect.
The A2 New Tech Pitch Night is one step in that direction too tonight.
Yeah.
So hopefully there'll be a great turnout there for you as well.
Yeah, I'm hoping to meet some cool people there tonight.
Yeah.
And the pitch that I'm doing tomorrow is to the Blue Water Angels in Midland, but it's part of the Michigan Capital Network. So I'll hopefully be getting a good turnout there as well, and meeting some good angels to also bring on board. So yeah, we've got 2 big steps today and tomorrow. It's kind of like doing a hopscotch.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's like you're building momentum as a founder, right? So that hardest, like you said earlier, the backflip, the hardest part is just getting started. But then once you let that passion just fully ignite you and just you take steps forward every single day, you just start stacking days. Like I was saying, you build the momentum. So in a way, that's what you're doing on the fundraising side too, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So let's come back to marketing, because you told me in our first meeting that you ended up making a really cool video. You learned a new skill in some like After Effects kind of stuff to actually produce a viral video, right, on TikTok. So talk us a little bit behind the scenes of your thought process, because I thought it was a really cool story of how you took a framework that worked for somebody and then you replicated it for your product in your industry, and then the process proved itself instantaneously with going viral. So just talk about the thought process, but then also on the execution side, like what did it take to actually produce that, and what recommendations would you have for a founder who has a great product, but they're not sure how to get it out there yet?
Yeah, absolutely. And one small correction, we did it on Instagram Reels, not TikTok.
Okay.
I would like to launch it on TikTok as well at some point. I've been focusing on Instagram and Meta ads. But yeah, so the process we went through for that, and it was funny how this worked. So I was following this positivity channel or account that a girl in, I think she's in New Zealand, she's running this account out of there. And she was just growing just incredibly fast. I was watching her account. I started following her when she had maybe 13,000 followers, and she was up to 180,000 followers pretty quickly. I think it was within 6 months. And I was like, okay, so she's doing something right. And as one of her early supporters, she still responded to my messages pretty often. So I texted her one day, and I was like, hey, do you mind if I take what your video, like your last video that got, I don't know, probably 5 million views on hers? I was like, can I take that video that you did and copy the sound and then the video splitting, so the timing of the videos, because it was like 5 different clips that are clipped together at specific intervals, and then just put my video over it. And she's like, yeah, absolutely, go for it. Like, see if it works. And I kid you not, it was within a week that video went viral. We posted it and we ended up getting 2.1 million views on it, simply because that system worked really, really well. So all I did was I just looked at her video, looked at when the first clip ended, put a timestamp there, clipped my first video to that length, and so on and so forth for the 5 clips, and then threw it together with the same audio and posted it, and it just worked, which that was really incredible to see. Your first viral video, it's very fun when that happens. It probably shouldn't feel as good as it does. Social media, we get a little bit too much joy out of it probably, but it's very fulfilling to see that much support coming in. And 2.1 million is just a great number to be able to tell people as well. When I tell investors that as well, you can see their eyes light up a little bit like, oh, okay, he means business. Like, people actually are interested in this. It's not just like my 12 friends at school are saying, hey, that's kind of cool. It's a lot of people online, which there's a healthy amount of hate thrown into the video, of course. I mean, it's the internet. You're going to get hit with some fun stuff. But yeah, no, that was the process we went through. And it was just... It makes it sound overly simple, but it might be. I haven't tried doing that again yet. But yeah, that was the process we went through.
That's awesome. So what advice would you have then for founders who have a cool product, but they're maybe hesitating to, get it out there, right?
Yeah. I would say take that leap and start learning how to edit videos a little bit better. I mean, there's great apps for it now. I think CapCut is one that's really popular. But you don't have to use something like that. I use personally Premiere Pro, which it's probably a little bit more intense than I need to be going, but it just gives me more control over the editing, which I like. And yeah, just, I mean, feel free to use the internet, especially the structure of videos. I mean, that's not something that people copyright or anything. Don't be directly copying people's videos, because I mean, that's just rude. I mean, respect other creators, but if it comes down to copying a video that the structure seems to work really well, so like the timing of videos, yeah, you totally go for that. And especially audios too. Trending audios is something you really have to pay attention to. I hope anyone going into marketing and social media marketing, if you're gonna dip your toes into that water, I hope you know that. But audio is so important, especially if you're doing Reels or TikTok. So yeah, just pay attention to what's being viral right now, and also what fits your brand, because you don't want to go off-brand either. I mean, we keep our audios kind of clean because our brand is kind of clean and happy vibes. We don't go for any of the like sad music or anything really rough around the edges, because that's just the brand that we're creating. But yeah, just go for it. And feel free to reach out to smaller creators too who are having success. Most people are happy to share their information too. I've talked to a lot of creators who they're happy to tell how they're doing what they're doing. So, yeah.
100%. I think that's also an advantage of being a young founder too, is that we've grown up with social media, so we understand how it works and the value in getting 2.2 or 2.1, 2.2 million, view video. Like there's value in that attention and those eyeballs on the product, because now your brand and your name are associated with 2 million plus people.
Right.
So, and then the key is just keeping that momentum going, right? And continuing to produce content and being a creator. I think that with AI and things like that, it's making it so much easier for any founder to become a creator. But the first step is really overcoming that imposter syndrome, right? So the way that I've been overcoming is taking a look at people that inspire me. And for example, creators like Dan Martell or Stephen Bartlett or Harry Stebbings or even Joe Rogan, and being like, if you break it down into its parts, like it's really simpler than you think. So don't put a preconceived notion of how hard it is before you just take a step forward and try it. Right. And you don't really need that much to get started either. There are tons of free tools out there. Even for podcasting, you don't need super nice equipment. You can use an iPhone and just produce something, right?
And I do recommend, if you're making videos on Instagram, I bought some cheap, I think they were $9, some microphones, Bluetooth mics that connect to my phone, and that improved the quality of the video astronomically. So I do recommend some little bit of investment into just making sure that you have a little bit of quality to your content. Yeah. Because that was something that definitely changed it changed the whole quality of the content when we started using microphones. But yeah, no, definitely just jump into it and have some fun with it. That's a big part of it too, is you got to be having fun with it, especially with social media marketing. There's so much energy behind having fun that people feed off of, and people will see, hey, he's having fun with this, like, or she's having fun with this, like, I'll have fun if I get involved in this too. I want to be part of that community, and they latch on to, and that's what you want. You want followers, you want connections. Just put that energy out there, and they'll get on board.
100%. So no pun intended, but the board, coming back to the board itself, let's talk a little bit more about. I want to talk about how you convince people to take you seriously as a young founder, and because you're going into rooms, you're asking for money, and right now you have a product, right? You're taking it to production stage. So how do you convince people to take you seriously as a founder, being, younger? And yeah, just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So it's a fine line to walk between acting naive and acting open to learn. And that's a line that you have to learn to walk on your own. But you have to enter a room if you're full of professionals who know what they're doing, telling them, hey, I don't really know what I'm doing here. This is my first time doing this. That can sound weak and kind of open. But if you say, but I'm really looking to learn, or I'm open to learning here, you can frame it so that they know, hey, I haven't done this before, but I am serious about learning how to do it. I want to make sure that I'm doing this effectively, and I think that you're a good person to learn from. A little ego boost for them too. I mean, that's always good. Like, making sure that they know that even where you have weak points, you're looking to learn from their strengths. That's been really big for me, because I mean, plastic injection molding, for example, I have no idea how, or well, at least a year ago, I had no idea how any of that works. I know a lot more about it now, and that's part of the fun of this, is learning as you go. But the company that I'm working with has been so great, Vantage Plastics. They've been putting in so much effort to make sure that I'm not only getting the product that I need and we're actually working through it, but also that I'm understanding the process that we're going through to get there. Which that's been a very cool process to go through, and I've learned so much already, and there's obviously more to learn, and there's always more. But yeah, just being open to learn is huge, and making sure people know that you're here to learn. Don't act like you know everything if you don't. You can be honest with people. Honesty is great, but also don't use the fact that you don't know things as an excuse either. So if there's a mistake with the plastic injection molding, and I say, oh, well, I didn't know how that works, so I mean, oops. That's not great. But if you say, oh, I didn't know how that works, how can we adjust, and what can I learn from this? You can just reframe mistakes to growing forwards, and like we said, failing forwards. So that's kind of a convoluted way to respond to the answer, or respond to the question. But yeah, just make sure people know that you're willing to learn and that you want to learn, because that's huge.
Right. I think there was a mentor that I had at Michigan that said, if you want money, ask for advice.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want, if you want money, ask for advice. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the best thing you can do is just come in with an open mind, looking to build a genuine relationship. And that way you build real connections. And that's where the value of your network is your net worth comes into play, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just going in with genuine intentions and a willingness to learn and openness, and also trying to bring value to the table, like figuring out what makes you unique to provide value back to them, because that's the only way to build a real relationship, is if there's a mutual exchange of value, right?
And that brings up a topic that I haven't dove into too deep yet, but personal brand is something that's come up before, and I think that's very important, especially when you're a founder. Your personal brand matters as much as your company's brand, because like I said before, they're investing in you as much as they are investing in the business. And so developing that personal brand, knowing who you are, what you bring to the table, your skills, but also your character that you are, that's very important to know who that is and keep it consistent, because when someone says, hey, I know this guy, I want to introduce you to him, and then the person they introduce you to is like, well, that doesn't line up to what the other person was saying. You got to be consistent with who you are. Make sure that you're on track. You've got that compass, if you will, guiding you, so you know where you're going in life. And so, yeah, personal brand is something that I don't know if you have more information on that too, on the marketing side, because like I said, it's something I'm still kind of exploring, working on developing my own personal brand, but something I think is important, and I think I didn't know it was very important when I first started.
Yeah. I think personal brand is something that I've recently become really obsessed about learning about how people build their personal brand, because the truth is that like there are companies that will become huge companies, huge brands, right? Think about your Googles and your Facebooks and now your OpenAIs of the world and all of that stuff. But the truth is that a brand will only last so long. And you may be a part of that brand, more importantly, for only so long. But the thing that you will never lose and that can never be taken from you is your own brand, right? So the way I think about it is, what I'm trying to invest my time in is, what are the things that are going to be the most valuable bangs for my buck on my time? The things that give me the highest leverage to maximize time, because that's the scarcest resource. It's not money,
right?
It's time. So the thing that you have limited of is, the thing that you need to put the most time into really is investing into yourself. And that's, I think, the ultimate founder mindset, is that you have to pour into yourself. Because if you, for example, didn't start, getting the job at the coffee shop, right? To like take care of yourself so that you could work on Morphite boards as a passion until it became a business, right? If you didn't invest that into yourself, then you might not have ever been able to get to your first product. So I think that really for anybody out there, whether you're a founder or not, you should be investing as much in yourself as possible. And that's not just your career, but that's also your health, your mindset, and your relationships, like your friendships, because those are things that you don't get back, right? But I think if people are looking for practical advice on building a personal brand, it's really coming to the table with like, what are my core values and how do I want people to think about me? And I think a really cool exercise you can do at home is literally writing down like, what do certain groups of people say about me when I'm not in the room? And literally write out how you would want them to talk about you, and then just be that person, right? And just show up consistently every day as that person. And that's really the easiest way. And it's just being consistent, pouring into that, and being having integrity about staying true to that, right? Staying true to yourself, not compromising your values.
Yeah. And I think being true in general too, beyond just your values, being an honest person. And if you're having a bad day, I mean, still show positivity outward to others as best you can, because I mean, the positivity you put out is what you're going to receive back. And so, yeah, I think being consistent with that brand, I mean, it's just so important. If you're happy one day, try to at least be friendly and happy to everybody as best you can every day, because if that's what they're expecting to see from you, then and hopefully that's the brand that you are creating. I don't think anyone's going to be creating a sad and angry brand out there, not on purpose. So, but yeah, personal branding it's a very interesting topic, and I love learning more about it. And balancing your life can be a very important part of that too. There's the cool life balance wheel out there. I use one of those every month. I fill it out and see. So for those who haven't seen, it's like a pie chart, and it has your financial health, your physical health, your social health, all those different categories as pieces of the pie chart, and then you just kind of shade it in for how full it is. So then you end up getting this like off-balanced pinwheel of all of these different categories, and it shows you right in front of you what parts of your life you should be focusing on a little bit more. Because if your social is completely down and your financials all the way up, it's like, oh, cool, I'm working really hard on my finances, but I haven't seen my friends in months. So like, it shows you, it highlights what you should be working on. And I think that's a part of what I use for my personal brand, is making sure I have that balance in my life too, because balance is so key to being able to have a happy and positive life, I think. I
agree. I think too, though, in the same breath, while I think it's important to have that holistic embodiment, right, of those different areas of your well-being, right, in those different buckets, at the same time, being an entrepreneur is super hard, right? Like, no, you don't rely on a paycheck. You don't rely on anybody else to make stuff happen but you. And so it's really hard. And I tell people who are on the beginning of the journey, it's not for the faint of heart. Like, it is a game of grit. It is a game of resilience, right? And attrition. Like, you're going to go through things, and it's going to be hard. You're gonna have to make sacrifices. You're gonna have to sacrifice maybe that movie night that you want to do with your parents, or that date you want to go on and say, no, I have to hunker down tonight because, I just got some crazy emails, or like something happened in production, all these things you have to handle, right? And you can't drop the ball.
Yeah. So. And I think it's important to communicate that to your friends too. And I mean, shout out to my friends in college, and apology to you guys as well if you're listening, because I mean, yeah, that was my life in college, especially for the last 2 years after I started the business. Was I'd get that text, hey, you coming out with us tonight? And it was almost always no, because I was working pretty much consistently over 100 hours on the business every single week. And it is hard work. I mean, you are tired, you're stressed a lot, pretty much all the time. And finding ways to cope with that stress is important too. Finding good, healthy ways. Like, I go on runs when I'm really stressed. I go out for a run because it gets you some fresh air, gets you moving, and it's a healthy way to cope with that. But yeah, I definitely did not see my friends as much as I would have liked to have seen, especially for senior year of college. It's your last time all together. There's a lot of saying no to social activities, and you have to know it's for a bigger picture. It's for you're investing in yourself, you're investing in the business, and you're trying to do something important too. Like your business is going to affect people out in the real world, and that's an important thing. So just keep that in mind. If you're going into entrepreneurship, there's going to be tolls to pay along the way, if you will, both social, mental, and physical. But you can get through it. It takes grit, but you can do it.
Absolutely. All right. I had another question for you around success.
Yeah.
So let's say Morphite Boards like completely just blows up, right? And
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us what your goals are for where you want to see it go? And we'll take it from there.
Yeah. So if Morphite does as well as I hope, one of our big hopes is to get these things on college campuses all around, because college campuses, obviously, that's one of our target markets. With being able to fit it into a backpack, it's huge for that. What I'd like to see is we can do custom colors and custom logos. I'd love to start branding, doing brand deals with universities. I'd love to see a blue and yellow. We're here in Ann Arbor right now, so I'd love to see a blue and yellow with the U of M logo board, Morphite board, maybe even in the bookstores. Like that would be peak for us, being able to sell those in bookstores. And then I'd love to build a platform around this. So there's a lot of talk about product versus platform. And so what we're trying to do with the Morphite board is not just build a product, but build a platform. And the idea is, with our modular system, we have all these parts that can be swapped out. So different colors, different designs. The idea is if I had a blue board and Ryan had a yellow board, we could mix, and now we could have a blue and yellow board, both of us. We're working on some cool electrification features for coming soon, spoiler alert. And we have a whole apparel line as well as a bunch of accessories that we're planning as well. So we're planning to, obviously, the board is not where it ends. This is the beginning. We're building a whole ecosystem around this board, and this is the platform that everything launches off of. So if we do well, that's where I'd love to see this take off to, is the whole Morphite Boards ecosystem, and beyond that, a community. I'd love to see, we plan on releasing some of the designs for an open source kind of design community where people can design and 3D print parts for their boards, because now that 3D printers are becoming a little bit more common ground, people can 3D print pieces. We 3D printed the original prototypes, and then show off their parts that they put on their boards, and maybe we could pick something up from that. So kind of trying to create an open source skateboard, if you will, which is kind of a weird concept, but that's part of what we want to do, is build that community around Morphite boards, and also sharing your parts. I mean, I'd love to see like unique colors getting traded on eBay in the future. Like, hey, I have 20 green, like neon green Morphite board deck units, like $20 for that, or however much, and then, or willing to trade for other colors, that kind of thing. I'd love to see it turn into a whole community and ecosystem around the boards.
It's interesting. You made a point there at the end that made me think of something. So the whole collectible trading aspect. I'm sure you're familiar with those tech deck boards, right? Those like finger skateboards.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's something there, right, that you can really make it collectible.
Yeah, we've been loosely looking at the idea of doing a Morphite board tech deck. Obviously not tech deck like brand. I have no affiliation with them, and hopefully, I mean, that would be great if we did. If Tech Deck's listening, I'd love to talk. But we've been working on ideas for that. Making the collapsible system work at that small of a scale is a little difficult, but I mean, it's something we should be able to 3D print. I just need to sit down and spend a weekend working on it sometime, and I could figure it out. But definitely watch for that, because that'll be coming soon. Keychain Morphite boards, or little Tech Deck Morphite boards. Be really fun.
Yeah, some keychains would be sweet too.
Yeah.
Who's one investor or one, famous, I guess, longboarder, skateboarder, somebody that you want to meet, somebody out there, if this could get into their, their attention, who would you want?
Well, I mean, the obvious answer would be Tony Hawk. I mean, he's a skateboarder, not a longboarder, so there is a distinct difference there. But I've always looked up to Tony as an athlete. He's a great role model as well. So I would love to meet Tony at some point, show him this board. But then there's actually a smaller skater, Sean Hoover. And I want to meet him for a funny reason. He had a video go viral online where he tried to fly Spirit Airlines with a skateboard. And they told him it would be $89 to bring the board with him on the plane. So he snaps it in half in front of them, shoves it down into the bag, and says, "How much is it now?" Hilarious, absolutely. I mean, it's a little bit petty, I will say, but hilarious video, right? So I'd love to have to meet with him and be like, "Hey, guess what? Shrink and then put it into a bag." Have him take a Morphite board on Spirit Airlines, kind of recreate the video, but then with a Morphite board, so it's obviously a lot less dramatic. And then re-release that video. That would be a top moment for us if we could do that. Because if Sean's listening, Sean Hoover, we'd love to make a video. It'd be hilarious to recreate that. But yeah, so we can beat Spirit Airline pricing. So.
Well, I'm going to throw in a subtle plant a seed here for us, but if we're able to get this video out there and he sees it, like, I would be more than happy to help you produce it, because
cool.
I think that would be super fun.
Yeah, it could be a ton of fun. And I think Spirit Airlines would probably find it kind of amusing too, get them a little bit more. It's kind of bad press for Spirit, but also in the airline industry, it's like, more people hearing about Spirit and seeing that you can fly with a Morphite board, take it on Spirit Airlines for free because it fits into your backpack. That's the only thing you can bring for free on Spirit, I think. But yeah, that would be awesome. Be able to create a video like that. So
cool, man.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share about new things that are coming down the pipe or things that people should be looking out for?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing coming down the pipeline is product release soon. Like we've talked about, it's a hard process, and I am the only team member right now, other than I have a business mentor who's a 10% owner, but I'm really on the ground doing all this footwork. I'm trying to get this product out as fast as I can, but there's a lot that goes into it, especially for a consumer product like this. So I appreciate everyone's patience while we work on getting this going. Right now, we just found out it's going to be another 3 weeks before one of our tools gets finished. So, I mean, that's kind of a big blow to our timeline. But we have to roll with the punches. There's a saying, you can't change the wind, but you can change your sails. We just have to adjust with that. So it's going to be a little bit longer before we get the boards out. We're looking at probably May now for our actual release and being able to ship out. But we're working on it. We're working hard. I promise you, every day I am on the ground working on getting these things out a little bit at a time. And so, yeah, keep an eye out for that launch. We'll start releasing more videos on Instagram soon. Once we get a board that I can start riding around on, make some cool videos for you guys to see while we continue prototyping and finish production. But yeah, keep an eye out for Morphite Boards launch coming soon. That's
cool. I think we'll cut it.
Cool.